The Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirrin Dirt Racing, host of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirrindirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, episode number 284 on deck. We're just rehashing all the love that we have for the area monster truck shows. They had monster trucks at Utica Speedway over the weekend. Thankfully, they didn't do the typical doubleheader with the Demolition Derby. It always seems like, and I don't know, maybe this is something left over from back in the day, the monster truck shows are accompanied with a Demolition Derby so they can run over the Demolition Derby cars afterward.
You know,
and I've never seen it work that way.
Anytime I've seen it, they've always had their own stuff there and never did any derby cars. Though I will say that the last fair I ran in County, I had a 68 Newport 383 and that thing would scream. And somebody driver doored me, and I went down and hit the edge of one of the ramps and jumped over the edge of the cars.
Right.
That was pretty nasty. Like the crowd was on their feet. I guess it looked pretty cool, but then I proceeded to hit a Cordoba in the passenger side rear tire and push the rear tire into the back seat.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
Yeah, that was one of those days when my throttle foot got heavy.
Good Mopar segue. We got Sam Bandow coming on the show in a little bit. He picked up a win at the Wasatch Wipeout. He's proficient with the Mopar side of things, and we're going to be talking with Mike Ingraham as he gets ready for the Imperials versus the World event coming up on Sunday with Spinning Wheels at the Otsego County Fair. We've also got James Brown in studio talking about his win at the Ontario County Fair in Canandaigua. That's 3 now for James at...
Yep, 3 at
Canandaigua, and then it's 2 for the year and double down on Mad Dogs both times. Yep. Do you remember I'm trying to remember. It was a Kenny Swingle show, HHP. The logo was blue and white. It was a fall show. Caledonia. It was at Caledonia. During the season, I think Chris Brogan got put up, nosed right up on the corner in front of the old Crow's Nest, and then they had the Last Chance to Smash was the name of it. This was like 2012 or 2013, and we taped it from the grandstand side because we had to stand across the track, and then we had another camera on the side of the pit, and Matt Gaskin Sr. just the camera guy was living through the lens and had no awareness around him. And he had a Lincoln, and he Dukes a Hazzard, Snake River Canyon, whatever you want to call it, right up the ramp and landed. The last thing to leave the track was his back bumper. The first thing to touch down was his bumper. He landed this sky wheelie out of the track. That was so cool.
Yeah,
I was so glad that camera guy didn't get hit.
yeah. Not to mention that was a good show. That was a really good show that night.
Brett had the blue Imperial that used to belong to Roger Matthews. Mm-hmm. And it came down to him and Chuck Chapman in a red, I think it was a red Malibu. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good show. Mm-hmm. That was a good show. That poor guy, I don't even remember his name. He was running camera, just volunteered to do it that night. Thought it was going to be cool to be up close to the show, and he was looking at something way down the track and didn't even realize this car was coming at him, and this thing went by him. Gaskin flew by him,
literally
flew by him, and he didn't even know. Like, we didn't even get it on camera, mm-hmm. and he heard the noise after it was already behind him, which at that point it was already too late. If it was,
but that was an afterthought.
He just took that camera. He wound up like he was pitching. He just slapped that handlebar to try and spin it around to get in time, and he bailed out up the top.
Yeah,
I remember him standing there, he was hanging onto a can of Pepsi, just kind of existing, man.
Yeah, I do remember that. That was a good show. You said I don't remember you jogged my memory there. That was a good. There's been a couple good shows over there.
Yeah, Livingston County's always fun. Their trucks are always wild.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. So what's up, Chris? We're in the middle of a torrential downpour here in Seneca County. We're in a
Hurricane Van Cleef just touched down.
It chased me the whole way down.
Yeah, we're in a warning. We're possible tornadoes.
Right. I heard that, and I started checking everything, make sure the wireless hasn't gone down, make sure we didn't lose anything, because that's been known to happen. So James is joining us in studio. He said it was the easiest feature win that he's ever had in his life.
Yep.
Let's be honest about it.
Easy and hard too. I mean, it was a good show. I brought a pre-ran from Penyan, pieced it back together for a heat car, brought it in. Said I was going for Mad Dog off the start, and did what I had to do out there. Got the most aggressive driver, qualified for the feature. I had a fresh car I had already planned on running there. I had built and brought that out to qualify. Qualified like I needed to. Brought it out, waited for the feature, and the car it ran horrible the whole feature. I don't understand why.
Because you had that chunk of wood underneath the throttle.
No, see, we get the car home and we're looking at it and we're like, wow. I says, something's not right. So we're looking at it. These screws, like I think it was the float screw on the front of the carburetor, it was 4 turns out. I don't know how. Nothing we did. Everybody I talked to said there's no possible way it would have gotten that far out from a half a turn to 4 turns. Right. I mean, maybe somebody did something to it. Good luck trying. But,
was that the car that was at the Cruisin?
Yep, same car was at Cruisin night. And, I don't know, I've been doing good with taking them to Cruisin night. Take them to a car show. 2 years ago, I took one there. Ended up winning Canandaigua. Last year, I brought one there. Won doubled Mad Dog Canandaigua. This year I brought one there. Ended up winning Mad Dog and feature win. So it's Cruisin night must be my thing.
Yeah, it worked out okay. So that's one of the cool things about living where we do is there's all sorts of different things that you can do in the summertime in terms of the festivals and stuff. Mm-hmm. And James runs Water Street Cafe over in Geneva, and he can park the derby car right in front during Cruisin night. Gets all sorts of foot traffic and attention and things like that. So you change that around and you think about the visual of a carbureted Illumina with a halo bar and everything set right across the street from a GTO, and it is pretty cool.
Right, and I pretty much cut my Mini Meltdown car apart and put the cage and all the stuff off my Mini Meltdown car right in the car because it was in the rule set. So it was nice. This was probably the most popular year at Cruisin night. It was, I think, one of the better turnouts for Cruisin night as far as cars. They opened it up a little more. They had, I don't know, I got a lot of feedback, a lot of good input. A bunch of people from out of town were there that wanted to see where this car was going to run. Don't know if they ended up there at the fair or not, but I did what I could. I put on a show and won some money. So, I can't complain.
There's a car downtown Geneva hanging out in front of Water Street Cafe with everybody. Mike Schroeder, Mike have a car?
No, Mike's retired now.
That's right, you said that.
Yep, Mike's retired now. He does all my carbureted work, and between him and my brother Jerry Brown, I went on vacation the week before, and I did what I could before I went, and I still had a bunch of stuff to do, and they pulled it together and came through and fixed everything for me and got it ready. So, really, without those two, I would have never been on the track and would have never been compatible.
Right.
It's always nice to go to car shows like that, but guys sometimes get upset when you tell them that you like to wreck their cars.
Oh, there was a lot of upset people. There's a lot of people asking why this piece of junk was even in the car show, and I've done a lot of things to get that derby car in the car show. I went in front of the board with BID and spoke with them because originally it was registered cars only, and when you go and try to bring an unregistered car, they're like, no, we've had problems, people doing burnouts, this and that, and I'm like, I'm just trying to bring a car that's still a motorsports car to try to draw a different crowd, trying to bring more people into your event. And after a few months of talking, they're like, yeah, bring it on down, but you got to keep it on a trailer. Well, a 20-foot trailer, 10,000 people, that just doesn't make any sense. So eventually with some talking, they're like, as long as you're respectful, just trailer it in and then just drive it out to your trailer. And for the past 4 years, that's what I've done.
And it's turned into a handful of wins and a bunch of Mad Dogs.
Correct, yes. yeah. It's like my good luck charm.
to take us through the fair itself, I mean, you've had a lot of success there. Momentum is a nice thing to have. Confidence is a nice thing to have. But does that play in your mind and make you more susceptible? Does it let your guard come down a little bit so that you see the softer car, so that you know that you can lay the Mad Dog hit and you get hung up on something stupid like a bumper or a flat tire?
Hey, anything's possible. I mean, you can have the best car out there and you can get beat by the rustiest, unbuilt, lucky turd that's out there. But, I mean, anything's possible. I mean, I knew I had the car to beat. We put, 200, 250 hours into that car, just like every other car we build. We do it top to bottom. Everything's changed on it, all new parts. Thankfully, all I run are Luminas, so I have quite the motor garden and part garden out back, so we can pick and choose pieces and whatnot. But, it worked out really good. Like I said, without Mike and Jerry, we would have never got on the track and been compatible. It's worked out good.
When was the last time you had 250 hours in a car?
I always have a lot of time in my car. That's what I mean. I just don't want to put more time in my car.
You have at least 250 hours with your car watching other people work on it.
I wish. Believe me, I wish.
I used to be that guy that used to sit and watch, but I've been trying to get more in there and learning more, and it's getting there. I mean, I don't know everything.
It's nice now. Zach is to the age where he's doing more, so I'm, I still do, but he does a lot more, and I'm giving him more responsibility. It's it's part of the family. I mean, from when I started, my dad wasn't real excited. He grew up around racing, and obviously my brother, he's pretty big into racing, and
I saw one of your brother's posters hanging in the over the top of the bar at the halfway house. It was one of the recent cars.
Oh, he went to school with Vonnie that owns the halfway house.
Oh, okay.
Her name was on the 93s, the Vincent cars that he ran at Canandaigua. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I grew up racing, so Dad kind of reluctantly got into it, but last week we were.
Begrudgingly.
Well, he came to me, and this is the thing. I used to the Derby just to wreck cars. Like it was just that's what it was about. And he's like, we put a decent amount of time and energy into these. What do you think about maybe trying to win? And I went, hey, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So unfortunately, the winning bug kind of got in my ear, and I haven't done a lot of winning. I've done okay, but I still like to wreck stuff, and that kind of gets in the way of winning sometimes.
I'm trying to find the joke. I was trying to find the comparison between. I think James has more wins in the last 2 years than you've got in your life.
Features, probably. If we're going Mad Dogs, I'll put my Mad Dogs next against anybody. That's no doubt.
I've only got 7, so
I've got probably 20 or 30 if we're being honest.
Yeah. No.
And that was back when, like, the Mad Dog wasn't even it wasn't even a thing then.
No.
Like it was a little trophy. It wasn't celebrated the way that it is now.
No.
I mean, you saw.
I know. Honestly, most of my Mad Dogs at Waterloo, I didn't get anything. It was a year in the feature. Congratulations. Which
you're counting heats and features too?
No, I'm just counting Mad Dog. Heats, yeah. That's
where
we.
I mean, that wasn't even Mad Dog. That was even Mad Dog then. It was best of show.
Yeah, best of show.
Right.
But at Waterloo, they never gave Mad Dog for the feature. Very, very rarely did they ever do it. So
it's only within the last couple of years.
Yeah. So I mean, you could when I started, it was a last car running and best of show. And there was the first year I ran at Waterloo, there was 27 cars on my heat. And they took the last car and best of show. And usually the best of show never made it to the feature because there was nothing left.
Inside out.
Yeah. So I mean, we used to turn them inside out, but it's gotten different. I mean, we definitely put a lot of time into them. Like I said, I'm getting now where, my oldest son puts more time into it. Excuse me. Dad.
Does he have interest in driving, or is he just like to build them?
Honestly, he's never really said much about driving. He likes the building part, and it's funny because like he'll say something like he'll look at the car for a while, and then a day or two later he's like, Dad, if we put something here and then did this, the frame wouldn't bend here. I said, yeah, that's called pinning. We can't do that. And he's like, then if we did this here and did this there, I'm like, yep, that's called plating the arches. We can't do that either. And I mean, he has a very mechanical mind. He's a lot like my dad in that sense. So he enjoys the build part. And he likes working on them. I honestly don't know if he wants to drive. He hasn't ever really said. If with his days of playing football are over, if he wanted to, I would help him. But right now there's he's got the rest of his life to Derby, and he gets hurt in July at a Derby in Waterloo and can't play football for a year. That's
sort of ruins that plan.
That sort of screws that up. So maybe someday, but honestly, I don't know right now. I mean, my youngest son really doesn't show that much interest, which is fine. It's I'm not going to force him because that's how you make.
Your youngest son, because I'm using this as a bit of a barometer in my own life. Your youngest son is still into the WWE action figures and stuff like that, right?
Not so much action figures anymore, but he's big into WWE.
Perfect.
But I mean, he's right now he's big into Marvel and DC and all that stuff as well. So
he's scrounging up old comics.
He had
You got Spider-Man 63 on order still in sleeves.
His uncle has some old comics, so the less valuable ones he's let Nick check out and stuff like that. And whenever a new movie goes out, they'll go see it at the thing. But
right.
If he gets involved with it, he gets involved with it. I know I know what it's like to have a life revolve around motorsports, and it gets rough. It really does, but.
It's tough, that's for sure.
Did you have a catalyst like that got you into Derby? Did you pick it up on your own?
Well, I mean, I grew up right next to Seneca County Derby. I mean, I wanted a Derby my whole life. I mean, I was like 16, I'm going to have a Derby car. And I didn't even start driving until I was 18. So, right. I mean, it wasn't even in my thought. And then 6-7 years ago, I'm like, I got this junk car. Let's go smash it up. Made a joke of myself out there,
Right.
And it's like, this is a lot harder than it looks. Like, you can go out there with your grandma's car, or your cousin's car, or whatever, and go out there. But, I mean, there's a chance of getting hurt. You're probably not going to win. You're going to get a little discouraged. Yeah, it's a blast. But, so, I reconsidered things and, I went around, 10 different derbies and just looked at cars and tried to figure out what's the best way to do anything just to make it better than it was the first year. And second year I came around, I got my first heat win, and I started doing a little better. And then third year I got my first feature win, and which is unheard of for most people. But we put in the time, we did the research, and every single derby we try something different.
It's definitely it can humble it. Well, I mean, it happened to me. I won Waterloo again for the second time. I went back the next year, and the first heat the next year I broke a transmission. The second heat I broke a dry shaft.
Well,
and that was my post on Facebook, 0 to 0. That was
mostly because you spent your whole night going after Toby Wise.
That's first night. First night I drove like
first
a
night it was nothing.
On dry shaft.
It didn't get there though. It sucked. I mean.
It is what it is. I mean, it's
not qualify. Let me clarify that. I'm not beating up on him because I wasn't in the car. I'm not saying that your effort sucked. It sucked you didn't get in because you're driving over the top, and it was unfortunate that it broke.
But no, it's. I mean, that's the thing is that's the part that a lot of younger kids don't like today. Is it's. Well, I can't be good at it. I'm not going to do it. Well, everybody's taking their lumps. I mean, I can't.
How many cars were? You're in the compact division of Ontario County. How many cars signed up this year?
I think there was close to 40.
So you got the same odds at winning the Ontario County Fair compact class as you have winning a NASCAR race.
Close,
right? 1 out of 43. Something like that.
I think one of my favorite parts about that, Nate White ran, I think one of his first or second, cars out there at Ontario County this past weekend. And
what?
Nate White's notorious for training mode in the RC derbies. And he made the feature somehow. I don't know how, but he pulled out in the feature. And he messaged me beforehand and told me not to take him out at the derby. And I says, well, as long as I don't see you in training mode out there, we'll be all right. Well, I saw him in training mode. I had to come down and make sure he didn't move too much further after that.
Good.
A nice little backdoor shot and a tire shot, and there was no more of Nate White. But I mean,
what's training mode for those who don't RC?
It's exactly what it sounds like. Training mode is where
half throttle.
Yeah, you can't go fast, so you don't go careening into trees and the house and stuff like that. It slows the thing down so that
is it a way of preserving your battery to like in. in our
You could say that.
Well, training mode is mostly for young kids who are first learning how to drive these things, because some of those cars out of the box can do 35 miles an hour. So some of the folks have found that they can run in training mode and work with their gearing so that it still moves just as quickly, so you don't know that it's in training mode, and it'll preserve your battery. Then you can go in and you can run in training mode at half throttle, at your controller throttle at like 80%, so your blast isn't there, so you're not drawing the battery that way, but you still have all the torque you need from your gearing stuff.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It's just the press of a button. It's
a
really
couple,
not a lot.
Yeah,
of work.
it's not a lot at all. It's a couple buttons. I've never done it. I've been around people who did.
I go from one wall to the next in the RC derby. I just smash everything. The mod cars we got now, I mean, we're on like 10, 15 runs on them. I don't think they're going to bend anytime soon. And
they're not scratched.
No, and my 9-year-old just, he won the derby at RC derby.
Mod class, yeah.
The mod class, and they kept asking him, like even at Penn Yan when he ran, are you running with the kids? No, I'm running with the adults. Well, you sure you don't want to run with the kids? Like, no, I'm running modified with the adults.
Why? You want me to beat them too?
No, I mean, the kids was a national car. I mean, my car would have never passed as a national car. It's a full mod, full braced. I mean, it's, like I said, it's never going to bend. But it's all about battery life and, playing smart plays and knocking people up, taking people out, pushing people in the corner, just like a real derby.
How many cars did you have, or maybe back that up. Going through the feature, how many cars did you have left at Ontario County before it started creeping in your mind, hey, this one might be in the bag too?
I think there was 5 left. I mean, it was me, Donnie Hartzell, the early that was running, Tracy Young's car, the kid that came in second, and I think my buddy Chad was in 5th. He actually ran my car I ran in the second heat. He re-registered it and ran it out in the Conci. And, I mean, there was no back tires on it. It was just front tires. Like, it was tired. It's been through 5 derbies. He's like, I just want to run. So he takes that car and goes out in the Conci, and he's the last one running. Wins the Conci. And the promoters are like, wouldn't it be the shit if you came down to just the 2 of you and you got to take out your own car? And I'm like, I'm fine with that. So he pulls out Conci, rolls right up to the wall, shuts it off, tries to shut it off. The car runs for 10 minutes because it's just dieseling because it's so hot. Just got ran twice already with no water in it.
Right.
And sits there at the wall, and, he limped around because, I mean, what are you going to do with 2 tires? I mean, you're not making full-track shots.
Right.
But he held his own. And, I mean, the back end is pushing the back seat, and honestly, the front still straight as an arrow. Same with my car. Didn't even bend in the front.
So you can scrap it, or you're going to keep it around?
Well, we looked at the motor yesterday, and it sounds like a tin can on the inside and blowing smoke rings out of it like you're smoking a cigar. So I think it's not worth it to pull the motor out and put another motor in it, with as bad as it is. So we'll probably just junk it. Send it to China, make it a Prius.
Keep the sub out of it?
Probably, yeah. We keep everything we can. Every little nut, bolt, cage material, motor, tire, trailing arm, everything we can keep. We keep it all.
That's cool.
You can't buy those struts. You can't go to AutoZone, Advanced Auto, and say, I want a strut for a 98 Lumina. They're going to tell you, okay, I got it here, $20. And you get it, and it's just the cartridge on the top. It's not the actual strut because they're all one piece. Where like Buicks and other cars, they just unbolt and you can replace it. So you can't find them unless you go to a junkyard. Junkyards around here, they've all been crushed.
Right.
For whatever reason. Don't know why, but they were all crushed. So you can't find the parts. So every time I run one and I got something that's a little bent but not horrible, maybe it's better than the one that's bent all the way over and you can't turn. So
right.
I keep everything. I'm sure my neighbors love it.
Yeah, gotta be resourceful.
We've done that over the years. We would save parts and pieces, but as you change, which you're pretty lethal with the Luminas.
I run only Luminas. I might try a 4-cylinder Camry, but I think Luminas is where it's at for me.
We've switched. Like I used to have a bunch of Mopar stuff, but I haven't been running Mopars lately because I found Cadillacs and the noses hold up better for me. So
right.
I've been throwing away Mopar parts. I mean, engine parts I keep, stuff like that. But little pieces here, little pieces there, gone. So is what it is.
I got quite a few people turned on to Luminas. I mean, I don't mind helping out the younger crowd at all. I'm more than happy. You're a young kid, you're just getting into it. You got junked your first 2-3 years. I drove through you, whatever it was. What do I got to do to be more compatible? I said, stop running Neon, stop running Stratuses, stop running the junk. Run something good. Run a Honda, run a Camry, run a Lumina. They get a Lumina and they get their tire laid over. Well, I can't find parts. Well, what do you need? I need an A-arm. Come grab it. What do you want for it? Nothing. Take it. You come pull it, you can have it. Like, I don't care. I'd help that younger generation out because they're our future of our sport.
Right.
I have no problem with that.
For sure.
So this weekend I was, not to completely change the sport, but I was near the debatable origination point of Demolition Derby down near Islip, New York.
Okay, yeah.
I wanted to try to drive around and find the remnants of the old track, but we weren't able to. I got outvoted, so it was cool seeing the sign for Islip.
Right.
That's basically that's a good argument that's where the sport started.
Yes.
Yep. It was in West Islip, New York.
Motor down there. Realized that everybody came to the races for the wreck, so let's just have one big wreck.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
what was that, like 49 or 50?
Yeah, that was attributed to him early. I want to say 53.
Was it like that?
Stands out somewhere's in there, and then there was another claim earlier than that. I don't know if it was him. And then
Larry Mendelson,
right? And then there's the deal at Holland, Holland Speedway, and then there's another timestamp in 1958, and it's all debatable about who had the original idea and who was talking to who. But yeah, that was that'd have been cool to get there.
Yeah, it was. Unfortunately, because I didn't think there's anything left. I think somebody has a museum from the old track or something there in the area, but I think the track is now homes or something.
Right.
So, but that happens.
Rolling Wheels soon to follow up.
What's that?
What?
Wall Stadium?
I said Rolling Wheels soon to follow.
Wall Stadium is officially. Wall Stadium's last year is next year.
Oh, really?
2020, and then they're going to put 230 homes
Did you
track at Wall Stadium.
By chance, did you see that Lancaster survived?
Yes.
Lancaster got sold and it's operational.
I'd like to have a derby there. That'd be cool.
Yeah, on the asphalt. Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be cool because it's the hometown of the Hanazewskis, and I'm sure Biggs would be there, so that would be a rough derby, but it'd be neat to go run on asphalt.
Yep,
that would be awesome. That'd be a great experience.
We used to go to the Shangri-La. Did you ever go down to Shangri-La and watch an asphalt derby?
No.
That was a good time.
I never even watched one besides like TV and internet and stuff.
We used to go down there all the time. Once we became friends with Mark and Brett, and they said, "You guys are gonna come down and watch an asphalt derby." All right.
I'd probably kill myself on something like that.
It was. I don't know if they could have a compact asphalt derby in all seriousness, because I think it would be too fast.
Yeah.
Because the big cars gain crazy speed. And I seriously think that the asphalt. I think compacts would be too fast. I think people would get.
I think it'd be way too fast.
Seriously
injured. It'd be scary.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I never ran a full size, so I don't know. But them compacts, they get up and go, and
they do.
They hit hard.
I agree with you.
Even in Canandaigua, there was a time when my glasses flew off and my helmet was turned sideways, and I'm like, my head barely fits in the helmet. How did it turn all the way sideways on my head?
So let's run through this real quick, and we're going to catch up with Sam Bandow in a minute as well. Blizzard Bash coming up in the not-too-distant future, Kansas Expo Center, Topeka, Kansas. November the 6th is going to be the Heat Draws and Pit Party, 7 o'clock start time on that in Vendors Row. All this information available on blizzardbash.com. You can also visit smashitderbies.com. Talking about Blizzard Bash 2019, the opening round of qualifying for both the national bracket and that qualifying bracket will be November the 7th. November the 8th will be the second round of qualifying for the national and qualifying bracket teams. November 9th, things pick up. Compact and limited weld team heats are on deck, followed by all the Team B features, the trucks, and limited weld one and done. And then November the 10th is Championship Sunday, all the Team A mains scheduled for then. Smash It Demolition Derbies enjoying a bit of a reprieve. Last night was their last derby for 2 days before they move into the month of August. August the 1st is the Otsego County Fair in Wapakoneta, Ohio. 7 o'clock start time there. It's part of the I-75 Points Championship, 80s wire class, street stocks, mini cars, Power Wheels, and they've also added a street stock team heat to that one at the Otsego County Fair. August 2nd and 3rd, 2 days of derby action. 7 o'clock start time for both at the Pike County Fair in Piketon, Ohio. Mod cars, minis, street stock, smash it motors, and Power Wheels. Same agenda both nights. August the 3rd is another one of those triple headers for Smash It. On top of Pike County, they're going to have Gallia County Fair and Gallipolis, Ohio, 5 o'clock start for the Smash It class, street stocks, mini cars, stock mowers, and Power Wheels. And then Preble County Fair in Eaton, Ohio is going to have a derby that day as well with the compacts, the street stocks, the trucks, all your pro stocks, and Power Wheels at 5, regular derby at 6. Sam Bandow's on the phone. We hit on a bunch of stuff that I'm sure Sam is more than ready to weigh in on, in addition to coming up with a pretty popular feature win. Sam, man, how was it?
It's pretty hard to explain. You'd never think you'd ever win that much money ever. in the top 4, when it was down to it, I felt bad. I seen Clay sitting there. He was stuck, and I thought, yeah, you already won this one. Kind of had to let him sit, and I told him, I said, hey, you're in the money, but I wanted that 25. And every hit was increasing in the biggest purse I've ever won. So, I mean, you went from 4,000 to 8,000, 12,000. If I beat these two, I get 25. It's a lot more nerve-wracking than you think when it comes down to that, when there's 13,000 between first and second.
Sam coming away with the win in the Wasatch Wipeout event with Stirrin Dirt Racing in Heber City. And also, if I saw right, you picked up the Mad Dog Award as well, correct?
Yeah, me and Brad Bowman we split Mad Dogs. We both got Mad Dogs out of the heat to transfer into the main. And in the main, I think it was Brad and Dave that split the overall Mad Dog.
Cool. So, I mean, $25,000 was the payday for first place, and that one, in years past, that's been running in a couple different formats, but Stirrin Dirt came in and really rejuvenated the show. You talked about the nerve-wracking elements as you're moving through the top 5, and one car goes out, and you automatically just doubled your money, and then you doubled your money again. Was there any point in that where you knew for sure that the money was yours prior to Jerry giving you the check?
Driving out for the future.
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear.
There wasn't a doubt. There wasn't a doubt in my head that day. I was so wound up this last weekend, and with the tech and the I'm right, you're right, why ain't I right? Tech was brutal. I built 3 Cadillacs to them rules. I'm yet to have the same one.
Oh boy!
And it makes me so mad because I could see cars and how they were tied together, but mine was different because I'm a homemade boy. I make my own stuff instead of buy it.
Right. And
when they can do it because they bought it, that really bothered me. But I changed it open. My tranny to motors, I had to separate that. So you're praying on a 5-bar bell, and I actually took and cut my tranny tunnel out. I cut absolutely everything before I went into that feature so I could stand that car straight in the air without losing anything.
Wow.
And I don't know, I felt awesome. I love that I had the LS, we got figured out pretty good. But I got a junkyard 5.3 that just won big money. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And I had won Darren's show that Sunday with it in Elk River, the same motor, same setup.
Well, that's pretty cool.
It did pretty good for 6 days.
Yeah, not too bad at all. Now, is this one? Did you build this one and tow it down, or was this one that was already out there?
As far as
the car, the combination.
Oh, the car I built.
You built that. You built that at home and towed it down.
Oh, what do you mean?
There's been a couple cars in the past that you've run down there that you've got some buddies' houses that you build at, and then there's other cars that you've built at home. I've been to the place where you build at your house, and at that point it was all Chrysler stuff. Now I can't believe that you got rid of all and replaced all of it with Cadillacs, and there's a lot of Cadillacs in Utah.
There's still a pile of Chryslers there, but it's disgusting because it's full of GMs right now. I don't have anyone. My cousin was renting it, and then he moved out, so now it's just, it's nothing but GMs in the driveway. There's probably 8 or 9 caddies up front, and had a couple more to pick up, but I don't know. I'm hoping they eliminate Cadillacs soon like they did with Imperials, because then I can go back to building a shocker in a couple days, you know?
Sam, we after you won, I sent you a message, and I said that there wasn't a more deserving guy in Demolition Derby to win this big payday and this big show. You know, a lot of people have heard of you. I mean, you have and do run the biggest shows in the country, but I don't think people realize that you do probably 90% of the building yourself. I mean, you don't build, you don't have all the fancy look at me parts that, a lot of people buy. I mean, you build your own stuff, and you're right there competing with the guys at the end. I mean, always. I mean, you're never one of the first guys out of a derby. It doesn't matter where it is. How good does it feel to know that you went to Utah where there's all this money and it's kind of not an object out there, and you beat them with stuff that you built in your own shop? How good does that feel to you?
It's hard to explain. It's just so much. Like, I go to bed at night and my mind doesn't stop racing. I think about derbies. Everyone says that they do it more, but I don't think I've met anyone that's as twisted on it as I am. I'm not building parts to make money. Like, that'd be a dream, but honestly, like, you talk to John, he's got no time for anything, and that would kill me.
Yeah. Because
I'm always working on something. Like, I got back, and when I had talked to Joker, I went and swung up to TJ's after I left the shop, went and said hi. Joker was there, and he's, what is your plan? I said, well, I'm signed up for Nephi next week, and I got a car half built. Joker's like, whoa, you just, won the Super Bowl. Like, you gotta just go hang out with the family. And it's like, well, this is kind of what we do. The old lady works weekends, so I have got weekends free all to myself, and my kids will only go to a derby if I'm driving in it. And it's just, you just get right back to it. When I get home tonight, I'm going to cut another motor out, and we're going to plan on running Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the following week. I mean, so I'll probably get 2 or 3 of my cars ready this week.
Yeah.
I had a builder's car and then 2 of these Cadillacs, and then, try and have them ready for Friday.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's just, over the years, we've been able to get to know each other, and I mean, your stuff it's impeccable. I mean, there's, it's as nicely built as anything out there, and it's all done by you. I mean, it's always good to see a guy, and I think it helps the sport a ton. I mean, there's, and I'm not knocking. I'm really not. I'm not knocking the guys that can buy this stuff and do buy this stuff. But it's always good to see a guy that does his own engineering in his own shop. I mean, I think that's what keeps the sport alive. Is there's still guys that can go out there and do it like that. I mean, there's just some guys that have the ability and the talent, and I think you did it. You did a lot of good for guys like that. I mean, you proved that it can be done. So I think this win really helps the sport.
Well, there's a lot of guys around my area that always make excuses for everything as well. I mean, I got kids, I can't do it. That's not true. Kids go to bed, whatever, you got time. Kids are playing outside in the yard, you got time. There's always time. It's just how committed you are to it. Mm-hmm. Guys say, if I had a shop like that, if I had this, if I had a hoist, I don't know what a hoist is.
Yeah.
I got an old Bobcat that every once in a while I can use to put bodies on, and that was the biggest challenge for me on Vicks and GMs, because you're changing body mounts.
Yeah, I'm about to learn about that.
The first couple cars I did was scary with those tall jacks and my engine hoist, lifting up a body and sliding it in, and tried. One year I used a rollback to put it on. I mean, I don't have a hoist.
Yep.
I got one outlet, and the guys are laughing if they come up there because I got multiple colored extension cords on the ground because I only got one outlet. So if you're going to grind, that's the orange cord. If we're in the winter and the heat's on, you got to run the blue cord. But And then the black cord, that's for the chop saw. And it's, I mean, Chris, you've been there. He knows there's no hoist. There's no nothing. It's quite the... But, I mean, there's just... You use what you got. A torch and a welder's all you need. I mean... And, like, them other guys, when we were setting up angles on cars, and I had to adjust in the heat because they put me over, and I'm so used to Minnesota running as high as you can possibly get. And I had to drop everything down to where my bumper's at 24 or something, because normally I'm at 28, 29. And you got to drop everything to adjust because they don't build like that. And I don't know, you just adapt. And it's crazy, but in Utah, everything's so stock that I love it. Like, even when I went to Bach and Beat down in Montana, stock body mounts. 10-inch brackets. Like, guys don't understand how awesome that is for me, because if you've ever done the Blizzard Bash builds or the kicker car builds, it's like, wow, I could do this car in 5 days, literally. Not too bad.
Yeah.
And you don't have to spend $400 every car just for ball joints.
Yep.
And then you got to get the rings and then set them up, and you know, or foam-filled tires, full centers, all that. I mean, you can run stock stuff, and you know everyone on the track's got stock stuff.
Yep.
Are you doing Blizzard Bash again this year?
No, I'm not.
No.
That whole thing was kind of terrible, and I had guys set up cars. They tried something I told them not to. They made an example out of me. More guys knew about my car than I did.
Right.
I didn't get the car till 4 days before the show, and when I did, they weren't done. And I had paid a lot of money to do it.
Sure.
And it's the biggest regret in my life.
I mean,
It killed my name. It set my team up for failure. I mean, you can't go out with two and expect to hang on.
right.
And I got rid of the car. I sold everything. I didn't like how it was done. It looked absolutely amazing. I'm not knocking the build. It was a phenomenal build. But just the fact that they didn't give me a chance to fix it, because when we were under the ramp and we were on my car, I just looked at Toby and who else was there? Kenny Gunn, and they had talked to the guy that built it. And I said, "Hey, this is the first time I've seen it too. Just tell me, I'll cut this car in half just to run."
Right.
And they worked with me awesome all the way through it. And he said, "Hey, I understand. They were cool. Absolutely awesome about everything. My car gets through. I'm getting it all cut up, getting it back in. The second car goes through. It's coming down off the lift. It's got the same lift. All of a sudden, it goes back up. Some guys go running. They come flying out to mine, drill, and there's a 4-inch, 1/8-inch plate behind the hump plate, which you could have easily used chain links to do the same thing.
Right.
So my level of pissed off has never been that high. And I'm like, dude, I will cut the rail off. I don't even care. And the crazy Iowans, they were awesome. They're like, we want to run against all four. We don't want to run against two. Let them guys fix their cars. And they said, no, you don't get it. You are not running. And then I said, okay. Well, they had an open spot. They had a buy round for the qualifying.
Right.
So I told Randy, I've got all the confidence in the world with Randy. Like, I love that guy. And I said, hey, me and you, we'll go through qualifying. We'll win it this year and still be in it. So I went over there with the $800 cash, and I said, hey, here's our entry. We'll come through New Tech. And because they had a buy round, like, I'll go run against that team that's got a buy. Fill your show out. The other guys are still running, whatever. And he come over and said, absolutely not. And I said, but you have an open spot and you have an entry here. And they just said, you don't understand it. Your punishment is you're not running this year. And I'm like, guys, all I did was stay at home and I paid people to build stuff.
Right.
Well, how can you prove that you didn't do this? And And it just got to such a point, and it killed derbies for me. I was so mad, and
yeah, it's disappointing we're not going to hear you back. But I mean, in terms of rebuilding things, this is a nice step towards doing that. You're coming away with a win with all of your own equipment. It's pretty handy. $25,000 is going to pay for a lot of entries, a lot of places.
Yeah, it just kind of, I don't know. A guy's got confidence in what he can do, and there's a whole different derby drivers out there. Like, I know some of the best drivers in this nation, hands down, and it's, in my opinion, different than anyone else's. It's not because they can go drive for 3 hours. It's not because they can do this. It's because they can go out there, build the nastiest car I've ever seen to the rules within. You know, we all got that. We say we're in them, but, you know, they're just kind of like leading on the build. But then they care about putting on the show because it's all about entertainment.
Right.
You're trying to put on a show for a crowd. If you're not, I don't think you should be in it. There's nothing that makes me more mad than that. I don't know. I didn't drive like that in a feature at all, though, too. At the same instance, I was going to win, but I wasn't laying full track shot after full track shot. And that goes back to where I always wanted to entertain. I always want to hit. You always want to be mad dog. And then you get out, and then everyone's like, well, he can't drive. He just goes and wrecks his stuff. You don't have to worry about him. He'll just take himself out. And it's like, hey, I could beat you if I wanted to. And then they just laugh. And it's like, all right, I'll go prove that again.
Now, Sam,
Happy learned how to putt. I don't know.
Now, you know, we heard you say that, you know, unfortunately you got a lot of GMs at the old homestead, but is there still a few Imperials hiding there that you can build to take to some of them famous Minnesota Imperial Derbies, or have you kind of got away from that as well?
Yeah, there's one supposed to coming up, and that's the hardest part. They want me to go back out west, and I was signed up, and I got everything, but there's this Barnum show, I've been running, it's Carleton County Fair, and last winter I helped Halverson set this all up. Or he kept asking questions. I didn't help him set it up, but he inquired with me, you know. We talked, and it was like, yeah, let's have a stock emptied. I'd totally be in. Well, then we went snowmobiling out west, me and my buddies, no service for a week, and when I come back here, they had some entry, and they were all filled out.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, are you kidding me? The only imp class around this year, and I can't get into it?
That's crazy.
And they had like 14 cars. And I think I don't know, some about alternatives, but I know 2 or 3 cars ain't going. I know that for sure. So.
Because you paid them not to?
No. I would run heats of these. I care less. I love it. I'd go 1 on 12 on anyone with an imp. But my 408 stroker is freshly rebuilt. I got a 68 Crown that's sitting there, caged out. I'm gonna bring that car flip switch ready, just to see if I can run it.
Where was the place you guys used to run with all the imps?
Pine City.
Pine City.
Pine City, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Pine City. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now there's no more Imperials at Pine this year.
That's because you've junked so many of them. I feel bad for the guys. They want to, let them run something else.
No, I don't know why they quit it. I don't know the whole. But Pine City is a derby that everyone can shut off their engines at once, and I still would get second. I can't win that derby for nothing.
You won it the one year, though, didn't you?
No, I've never won Pine City. I can't win Pine City. I actually got kicked out of Pine City for a year and a day. And this year is the first time that my band's up, so I get to go back and run it.
I thought you won it the year the guy came down from Canada and ran.
Oh, that was Crossroads in Albert Lee.
Oh, my bad. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
That was when Anthony came down.
Yeah.
The Pine City is the one that's like always old, beautiful, straight, no body hammering, just beautiful, clean birds.
What'd you do to get banned for a year and a day?
I got a little thing called a temper, and I was yelling at one of the judges pretty good.
Just checking.
Ill-tempered Sam Bandow. Who knew?
There may be a shirt that says ill-tempered out there somewhere.
I looked at him afterwards. I said, well, it doesn't say Mr. Nice Guy on my sign.
So, Sam, one thing real quick off the
They did a
topic.
fast count on me.
One thing off the topic. Do you have your game cameras up yet? Is there anything big in your woods?
I actually was on the phone with my buddy last night. I was so excited. And I had to go put on it was about 80 degrees and humid and nasty and sunny. But it was just getting close to dark, and I had to bundle up about 12 layers to fight the mosquitoes and deer flies. But I had a really solid, probably about 4.5-year-old 10-pointer, and then like a 8-pointer with him. There was about 20 deer by my house last night that I was watching for about 10 minutes.
Nice.
Very nice.
But
now, I don't want
cameras are up on a different property south of me, and that's where the big giants are.
Now, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but you may have used all your luck winning this $25,000. It comes to deer season, you might only see doe and spike all year, so be ready for that just in case.
I'm good with that. Yeah, it was such a weird day. Saturday morning, it was insane. I thought I don't even want to drive my car on the track because I was not having good luck. I went and switched the A-arm and I had a bad spindle and a radius rod on that caddy that it broke. It actually broke the washer right through. The nut was still on. I've never seen anything like that. But I was fixing that. I go to stand up and walk, and I rip my forearm open on the thing about, half-inch deep and about 2.5 inches long. And it whips open, and you could just see pink and flesh way deep. And I'm squeezing it, like, freaking out, like, oh, man, I don't have time. It's 10 o'clock, and we only got a few hours, to work on these. I don't have time for stitches. Case's buddy, I go over to there, and he's an EMT, and he had, like, super glue. So we're sitting there, and we super glued about 3 layers to hold it shut and then taped it shut.
Oh.
And a little while later, I grabbed my grinding disc. It was just a flap wheel with the rubber underneath it, that pad.
Yeah.
I've been using it for 3 years. I go to grind on top of my trunk, and that thing explodes off my chest. And I'm just like, holy cow.
That's
a little while later, Trenton Sweat's welded on my car, and he, while we're standing there, they just had the argon tank standing up with this small welder or Andy's.
Yep.
That thing tips over within a half-inch of smashing the regulator off the back of the welder.
Jeez.
And I'm just like, oh my God. This
Well,
is
there
like
you go.
Final Destination.
Listen though. Right there, you had 3 bad things happen in a row, so you were good for the night, man. You should have felt like $10 million driving on the track and be like, look, all my bad luck is gone. The 3 bad things have happened. This is going to be the easiest feature I ever had.
Yeah, I don't know. It was quite the ordeal.
Now, I saw, too, that
we got Mike Ingraham coming up here in just a few minutes as well to talk more about Imperials.
Sam's wife, Jenny, is one of his biggest supporters. Mm-hmm. And they watched the Derby at the bar she works at. Mm-hmm. And when Sam won, Sam bought the bar around. I saw that match on Facebook. So.
Apparently, yeah. I didn't know anything about it. There's a lot of guys I know because I ice fish quite a bit. So I'm up there every weekend, and I've met quite a big group of people that have been there forever. And that's why she loves working at that bar, because the customers have been there forever.
Yep.
And they could never understand what she meant when I smashed cars and I did this, and when we were going to Vegas and all of this. And she said she asked one of the guys that was techie that was there, like, how do we get this put up on this thing instead of watching it on their phones? And they put it up on the bar, so they had it on the TVs in the bar.
That's awesome.
Watching it, and there was people that had never been in there before, and they're trying to figure out, what are you watching? Oh, her husband's out here running this show in Utah. And I guess I had the whole bar cheer me on, so
that's cool.
That's pretty awesome. Cool.
This weekend, there's one show that if I would have won the lottery, I would have had Sam Bandow in, and that is the Imps Against the World at Morris. I would love to have Sam Bandow bring an Imperial to New York to run against.
Yeah, I seen that thing right now. There's some imps against the world. I'm like, man, I'd like to be at that.
Yeah, I'd like to have Sam Bandow and an Imperial on that track. That would be a show. But fortunately, I didn't win the lottery, so I couldn't swing that.
Yeah. I never win the lottery because I never have money to put into it.
I know that feeling.
Apparently, you gotta be in it to win it.
That's what they say.
If you would scrap some of the trash around your outlet, you could probably afford to put another outlet in the garage. Lottery notwithstanding.
Yeah.
You know, is what it is.
That ain't no fun though.
I know. Sam, we got to get Mike on and talk a little bit more about the Imperials. I hate to rush you off, but I greatly appreciate you making some time for us with the time change out there, and congratulations again on the win. That was a fun one.
Thank you very much.
We'll catch up with you later this summer. What do you think?
Yeah, if you want. My phone's always on.
All right, perfect. We'll talk to you soon.
Sam.
All right, see ya.
Nice job. Couple thoughts from Sam Bandow.
That dude is always working. He's always doing something.
It's crazy.
Yeah, he said his
my
phone's
garage
always
is the same
on.
way. I got one outlet. Either got the 250 footers or the 225 footers or the 50 footers. So it's like
His phone's always on, but it doesn't mean he's in service.
Yeah, he lives in part of the world where there's not a whole lot of towers.
He's either in a lot of cold or a lot of mountains. Hey, Mike, it's Chris. Can I put you in? Mike is joining us right now while he's at work trying to stand underneath a tree so that he's got enough service to come on for a few minutes. But I'm glad he's making some time for us. Mike, you looking forward to the show Sunday or what? Imperials versus the world. This is going to be a fun one.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. We just went through the car earlier tonight. I took a couple hours from work to finish it up.
What'd you have to do to it?
Just fill it up full of water, check the fluids, found one issue that had to take care of. That was, had to put the roof sign on, so.
Perfect.
That was about it.
Imperials versus the World is a Spinning Wheels event that's happening Sunday at the Otsego County Fairgrounds, part of the Otsego County Fair in Morris. And it's 10 Imperials or Chryslers that are subframed against 10 of whatever else. It could be Crown Vics, it could be mid-70s GMs, it could be Roundbacks, whatever it is. So it's Imperials against the world. And you've got a subframe car, right? You didn't build a bird, you built one of the subframe Chryslers?
Yes, I actually bought a 1967 Dodge Monaco, and I put a fresh 68 Imperial sub in it.
And then you've got some other Y-frame stuff coming out of the shop this year as well?
No, the only other car that I have been running is my 66 Imperial, which I'll probably take that to San Filippo maybe in October, and this subframer if anything's left of it.
So everybody's playing it close to the vest. Everybody knows who's got the Imperials, but nobody knows what anybody else is bringing. Mm-hmm. And we've seen Mike and the Ingraham family as a whole at Wheel Days and at Morris and stuff drive the wheels off of boxcar Imperials. And that you guys have picked up a couple of wins the last few years as well, driving some of the Imperial stuff. So you've obviously got the build down. You're familiar with it. And you're used to the rough and tumble stuff. So what's this heat going to be like? Do you think it's going to be wide open, or do you think it's going to be people holding back a little bit, waiting to win?
I think it's going to be a little bit of a driver scenario at first until a couple of us decide that we're going to turn it up a notch and we're going to go New York style, baby. We're going to send it. I think I'm just going to put it to the floor and see what happens.
I like to hear.
And
now,
why not?
I don't want to sound like I'm for one team or the other, but have the Imperial guys got together and said, hey, let's junk these other cars first and then we'll battle it out themselves? Or do we not want to admit to that? Or
there's been a little bit of talk that from a couple of guys, but I personally think this is just a big team show. It's 10 Imperials versus the world, and I think that's what it's going to be. And I'm going to kind of sit back for a second, kind of see how things play out. And I'm going to start pick on the Fords first. I built a subframer a few years ago. That was pretty strong. Now I'm going to see if I can't make this one a little better. And, it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
With the subframe setup that you got, did you go with a pointed bumper or a flat one?
I actually built a homemade bumper out of 4x4 square stock. Ran a little bit of a point on it. My nephew tried it out a couple weeks ago at Brookfield. Didn't end so well for his 68 Imperial with it, so hopefully it doesn't bend mine. I'm hoping. I mean, I mounted it a little different than he did. I mean, we'll see. It might be a little much.
Yeah, it could be, but I mean, there's only one way to find out. And then, any Belvederes this year?
No, I'm actually I'm looking for some. So if anybody's got any, hit me up. I'm thinking about running a couple of those in economy class next year for Spinning Wheels.
I like it.
I think those are a good setup car for an economy class.
You guys have done some work with those too.
Yeah, the last one I built, I think I built a little too tough because the rear end kind of went all haywire in it. But
was that the blue one?
No, that was 2015. That was a 67 Coronet.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's, with the Mopars, the back ends are funky.
It's feast or famine with those Coronets, the GTXs. I think the Satellites and the Belvederes are all sort of the same breed, and it's either really, really good or it's a whale tail to the roof in two shots.
Mm-hmm.
And this one it started the whale tail and then it just blew apart. My leaf pack broke off the rear, and then it went from there wherever it wanted to. So
that's something I'm looking forward to. Is I want to see what guys have done with the back ends of the Mopars for this show.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if it's like a more of a stock looking build, or if they're going to have them bumpers 6-8 inches off the ground, or it's going to be neat.
I think that's the way you almost have to go, in my opinion, given that you know that you're going to go out there with some of the Fords and what they're doing the front ends of the GMs and stuff, that you almost have to put the back end real low and run a big beefy rear end if you can get it through the rules to help hold everything together.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to stand to be anybody coming out there with that thing set like a 4x4, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The other thing is the Imperials are going to be so much longer. The size of the Imp cars are going to be so much bigger than what the Fords are. So
but the thing is, though, is that track is big enough.
That's why I chose to go with a wide frame car with a subframe in it, because I ran there a lot. I ran my last subframe Imperial there for total destruction, and I could move so much better with my subframer than I could against my brother with his full frame.
Right.
Man, I could blow donuts around him all night, and he had a hard time. And as soon as I signed up for this class, I said, "Yep, I'm going with a subframe car. There's no question."
I think what you're going to see those. I mean, eventually it's the Mopars are going to hide the tails, and it's just going to be nose out. And, I mean, it's going to come down. Unless guys really change up their driving, it's going to come down to who's got the harder nose. I mean,
zebras don't change their stripes. They can look good when they leave the line, but it's going to fall into muscle memory eventually.
Yeah, sooner or later, it's going to come down to who's got the hardest jaw. I mean, that's what it's going to come down to. Guys are just going to start hitting each other wide open, nose to nose. I mean, that's my prediction. That's my humble prediction. Maybe you'll see some guys in the Fords try to do a little more driving, so to speak. But I mean, I think the guys in the Mopars are, they know what they got, and maybe I think that they know that they may not have what the other guys do as far as maneuverability. So I think you're going to see them trying to throw haymakers. They're going to try to make junk when they can. So I'm trying to get out of work early so we can make it there on time. I want to make sure I see this heat. It's going to be awesome. I hope the Imperials come out and run all over the Vics, because I'm not a big fan of Crown Vics. So,
well, I like the rules. It's pretty even. I mean, we can't really. we can't put different spindles and stuff. It's got to be make to make. We can't run aftermarket spindles on the front, and that's going to be a big difference for the Fords and Chevys.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. You're gonna be the
Mopars, the spindles are. I've never had much issue with
Don't
the spindles
finish that sentence.
on the
Don't
Imperial.
do that. Don't do that. Don't tempt that fate. You're gonna be-
I've lost ball joints in my full framers, so I mean, it's an even playing field. I like that part of it. I mean,
that's one thing.
I wish they would have finalized the rules before we had the sign-ups, because actually I would have been in a metric GM leafed out. I think that those are going to be tough if anybody shows up with one.
Talking to Jeremy during the off season when they had the idea for this heat, that was what he was really working hard on. He put a lot of time into trying to get the rules even. Trying to get to where one build wouldn't have an advantage. He wants it to be settled, on the track, not in the shop. So
they're pretty even.
Yeah.
They're even for anything, I think. I mean, it's all on how you interpret the rule. I mean, that's what's going to be interesting, because I interpreted a few of the rules, probably different than some other guys did, which it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's
the nice part with the rules being even the way that they are. It's allowing everybody to build in their wheelhouse, which is a little bit surprising hearing Mike say that he would have gone with a metric leaf conversion, because I would have automatically defaulted to him driving a subframe like this.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising.
Yeah, like I read the outline rules at first, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with a subframe Imperial. Then they finalized them. I read them again, and I went, man, I wish I didn't sign up for the imp class, because I'd be in a metric. I was like, I would leaf one out so fast, and
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Does it really say how you can mount the leafs in the rules? And I probably use that to my advantage.
Sure.
Yeah. I hear you now.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of a corporate 14 bolt in the rear with some leafs. I think a metric would definitely be hard to beat, and I would use the rear in it all night long.
Yeah.
What's Todd driving?
Todd's not in it.
He didn't get in. Oh, really?
No, neither is my nephew Sean. Chad Brown, he's running a 72 Imperial, I believe, with his 408 stroker in it.
Yeah,
That's
his
the
dad
Coke
was telling me about
box,
that. His dad is one of the officials for Spinning Wheels. He was telling me about it down there. He said it's 408 alcohol too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a screaming motor. So
Cool.
I can't wait, man. This is one of those heats I've been looking for all summer. So
SpinningWheelsProductions.com has all the information on it. This is going to be part of the Otsego County Fair, August the 4th. The first show of the day is at 1 o'clock. That's heats only. Imperials versus the World is going to be part of the evening program. Inspection opens at 3. Show starts at 6. You're going to have some other stuff to wait through before the Imperials versus the World heat does take the track. It will be part of the feature program. Again, overseen by Spinning Wheels Productions at Otsego County Fair, August the 4th, SpinningWheelsProductions.com. Mike, man, is there anybody that you want to make mention of to help get the car together?
Well, just the whole crew. My brother, my nephew, Devin Parker. I got to thank Chad Brown and his cousin Jordan Christopherson going and getting the car for me. The wives, they're about ready for Derby season to be over with.
Right.
Isn't it funny how that happens?
They put up with it. So
Gotcha.
after this, we're going to take a breather and relax, get ready for deer season.
Sounds good. Well, man, I wish you the best of luck this weekend. Let me know how it goes, and maybe we'll be talking with you again next Tuesday.
All righty, thank you.
We'll see you later.
Have a good one.
Yep, have a good one.
Good luck.
Bye.
There goes Mike Ingraham getting ready for Imperials versus the World on Sunday, 6 o'clock start over there at the Otsego County Fairgrounds. Is there anybody that you wanted to make mention of?
My whole crew, Mike Schroeder, Jerry Brown, Chad Sargent, Aaron Spinaccia, my girlfriend T, Everybody that supports us, whether it's from welding to picking up cars, stripping cars. I got a couple buddies, Sean Lathy, and a couple other friends that just strip cars for us. And, my brother does all the welding. I can weld when I try, but I don't trust it, though. But, for being disabled, he does quite a bit for me. It's really great, and I couldn't do it without him at all. And now that Mike's retired, and I'll still be building a little bit, but he's not going to be running anymore. It alleviates a little time. So it's tough with my schedule too. I work 6 days a week, 60 hours a week easily, and. It's tough for me. I'm getting out of work at 4 o'clock, and I'm in the garage till midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then back up at 6 for work the next day. So, I do that. Been doing that straight since May. So
right. It's dedicated. How was your vacation? Was it fun?
It was good. It was a nice little getaway, a little relaxation time in the middle of nowhere. It was
Where
nice.
did you go when you had the fish eating stuff off your feet?
That was in Mexico. That was an experience. Everybody's scared to go to Mexico. Maybe it's because I have tattoos. I don't know. They're all like, "You can't go downtown." I said, "We're going downtown." So I'm like, grabbed everybody. I said, "Let's go downtown and get the real Mexican experience instead of sitting at the resort." And everyone's like, "Oh, downtown." The first time we went down there, the cops are down there with handguns. Last time I went down there with assault rifles. It's definitely changed a lot. Things can happen down there, but you just go down there and act normal. You don't act like an idiot. You act like an idiot, you're going to be in Tijuana and you're going to be in pieces before too long. But, it's awesome down there. The people are awesome. The weather's awesome. Everything down there is awesome.
Contact James Brown for your next trip to Mexico. He'll take care of all of your travel needs. Guaranteed trips.
Yeah, I got no problem. I'm going right in the back rooms. I didn't care. I was going everywhere. Let's just go. Let's go. Let's have a good time. You could die in a car on the way to work. What's the difference if you go to another country and die? Shit can happen anywhere. So
true statement. Well, I think that's going to do it for us here on episode number 284. We'll be back again next week. We'll check in with what happened at Imperials versus the World. And then coming up, we'll be taking a little bit of time off for summer recess. We're going to be making the trip to Iowa, and I don't plan on doing any podcasts while we're on Lake Okoboji. But maybe we'll have some Facebook posts to let everybody know what we're doing. Looking forward to it. Congratulations to all the winners this weekend. I think I saw Cordell Hansen picked up a win with Domination Motorsports over the weekend as well. So nice job to him. And, of course, congratulations to Sam Bandow and James Brown making some time for us here tonight. That's going to do it for us here. We'll see everybody next time.
The Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirrin Dirt Racing, hosts of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah, online at stirrindirtracing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.